Now, let me go ahead and start this off in saying I don't think there will ever be a Battle Royale mode or something in that nature to be made from Nintendo unless they decide to create one using the Splatoon IP or even just creating a brand new, entirely, new IP. Nintendo really isn't one to follow trends, and I honestly think they're the company to set trends and try to experiment on new ideas, some being a hit and others being a miss. But what if I told you that back on September 13, 2014, Nintendo was actually somewhat close to potentially releasing a Battle Royale-esque mode with the release of Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS released, like I mentioned, on September 13, 2014, and the game introduced us to a couple of new things. Those being that the 3DS Circle Pad is not durable enough to stand the power of wave dashing, and a mode that I believe is so underrated called Smash Run. A match of Smash Run started like this. You select your character that of course you would like to play as, and if you'd like to play with 3 other people via download play, you're able to go ahead and do that, or if not, you're able to go ahead and go against other CPUs. But once you have selected your characters, you're sent into a maze-like massive battlefield where you are able to battle against other CPU enemies like I mentioned, or the other 3 players, to gather upgrades for your character for a total of 5 minutes. The upgrades included your character movement speed, their jump, their attack, their special attacks, their arms, and defense. Depending on these stats and character you were playing as, you can make them into a total overpowered monster. Once those 5 minutes are up, all of those players are going to be entering into a final battle arena kind of mode to see who the real winner is, which is basically just your normal free-for-all smash battle, or even sometimes if you're actually doing this in a team way, it can actually be a 2v2 team match, or even fun little games like seeing who can reach a certain goal like a race. So if you are one of those people that actually fully upgraded your speed stat, then you of course are likely going to win or find it a lot easier to win this challenge. It all honestly can vary, and so making sure you are leveling up your character stats in an effective manner is the way to go if you want to win. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, this was stuck on the Nintendo 3DS, and not only that, there was no online play that you were able to do when it came to this game mode. The only way for you to play was against other CPUs and via download play if you wanted to go against real people. This is honestly where I believe if Smash Run was released in a more powerful system and can actually do online play, this would have been probably one of the most popular modes of any Smash game. I personally remember playing it against my cousin for the first time when it released, and I actually fell in love with it, but feel upset that I couldn't really duke it out against other people online. I honestly kind of was upset that, again, there was no online play and there's like really nothing really to it. It was just basically just a fun secondary mode for you to have fun with if you had other friends close by, and that was it. Kind of in the same vein as what they released for the Wii U version, being Smash Tour. But we don't talk about Smash Tour in this video at all, please. What I want you guys to go ahead and imagine here is imagine if Smash Ultimate kind of graphics and the way how that game looks and runs, and I want you to go ahead and pretend that there's a Smash Run mode there where you're actually able to go against 8 other people or even more via online play, and they're able to go ahead and grind to make your character OP and then fighting in the end to crown the winner. This is where I believe I see a potential Battle Royale like mode can be made with this, as it follows the same structure almost as other Battle Royale modes if you really think about it. Again, I do actually want to go ahead and emphasize here the word almost though. In Battle Royale games, it's always you and a bunch of players are sent into a massive map where you have to loot to upgrade yourself via gun rarities or whatever the gimmick is for that specific mode. Just basically looting and kind of upgrading yourself, and if you run into other players, you're able to go ahead and eliminate them. You also of course have a time limit as a threat, aka a storm is coming to get you, making the map smaller. As you can see, the end game is different in Smash Run here, where there is no glooming threat coming after you during the 5 minutes that you have. It's all just an upgrading competition till you get to the very end where the elimination rounds finally start. If I was to kind of transform Smash Run somewhat a little bit into like a Battle Royale-esque mode, if they want to create it in that kind of way, the way how I would actually like it to be, or how I would do it, was it would actually be able to have 8 to 12 people in a single match, maybe 8 to even 16 people. They are all sent into this massive battle area where they are facing off against CPUs and potentially even each other so they can upgrade their stats. If 2 players run into each other, they can of course try to eliminate them, or in another concept that I have there, instead of actually fully eliminating them, they just be, the person who gets eliminated, they lose all of their stat upgrades and have to start over regaining all of their stats upgrades again. And then the person, whoever stats is the kind of the winner there, they may get a little bit of a boost upgrade for that kind of stuff, for eliminating an actual real player, but not to the point where, like, you know, they might get everything that the other player had, maybe just a little bit of an upgrade. Even then, just having to make the other team or the other enemy kind of reset, I think is a bigger kind of bonus regardless. It's just, you know, kind of a cool little idea that I have for that. Or another idea that I have is if whoever is eliminated, and I don't know how this would really work, I think this would kind of be a little bit of like a negative, but if somebody actually gets eliminated, they instead get into like a spectating mode, and pretty much they're only able to go ahead and spectate other players for the remainder of the 5 minutes or whatever the time limit is, and whatever stats they had during that time frame that they were alive and they got, that's going to be their stats that they will have permanently, even once they go into the elimination rounds, which I think with that one might be a little bit too much of like a negative, which I mean will make people actually think about more so about how to actually fight or even meet with other real people. But I think the first idea that I had, where they actually go ahead and just lose all of their stats and they just reset and then just keep on playing and playing to get even more of their stats, I think that's probably the better way to do it instead of that other new method that I said. I even also thought about potentially adding some form of threat that shows up within the time limit, somewhat to of course replicate the circle storm and a battle royale. But honestly, I think it just being a full 5 minutes and of them just looting and upgrading their stats, I think that's honestly just the better way to do it when it comes to Smash Run or just a potential Smash Battle Royale. Once the 5 minutes are up, of course, like I mentioned, the players battle out to declare the winner. And honestly, another thing that I actually thought about is if they are entered into that final kind of battle arena mode, once they're in that state, maybe they can actually go ahead and turn it into a sudden death mode, kind of in the same vein as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where the screen in Smash Ultimate, when you do enter sudden death, it actually keeps getting smaller and smaller and zooming in, making the kind of like death zone a lot easier for somebody to be eliminated. Maybe that would be a cool kind of little concept for them to add once it does get to a certain time frame, or like maybe they have 30 seconds to a minute to eliminate all the other players in the end zone, and then or in the final kind of battle arena mode, and once that minute is up and nobody's really been eliminated or something's just going on, you know, that the screen getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you know, forcing people to actually meet in the center there of the battle arena and having them fight. I don't know, it's just kind of like a cool little concept idea that I thought that I just remembered that Smash Ultimate actually does when you enter sudden death mode. Now, like I mentioned, we all know for a fact that Nintendo would never make a Smash Battle Royale. Honestly, I think if they were to ever make a Battle Royale mode, I think the game that would actually have that would likely be Splatoon, just because it is a shooting game with ink and stuff. And honestly, I think a Smash or a Splatoon Battle Royale mode would be kind of fun, but it'd be interesting the twist that Nintendo would like to make with it. But even then, just making some form of unique Battle Royale mode, I think would be very, very unique. I mean, heck, another idea that I have for like a Battle Royale mode kind of thing would be kind of maybe an amiibo fighting game or something like that, or something to do with the amiibos to actually make them actually be useful for once in their life. But I also just wanted to make this video, honestly, just to give Smash Run its flowers and its credit, because no one really talks about this mode. Honestly, I think it's due to this being on the 3DS exclusively that it just did not get a lot of support, and it not having online play kind of thing was, I think, the biggest drawback. Now, we all know for a fact that Nintendo would never make a Smash Bros. Battle Royale, most likely, and if they were to ever make an actual Battle Royale, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the best mode or the best IP to actually do that would likely be Splatoon, just because it is itself a shooting game. And I think it'd be a fun, interesting thing to see how Splatoon would work with its own mechanics. But nonetheless, I still think that Smash Run is just highly underrated, and it makes me upset that not that many people really talk about it or even know that this mode even existed. And I think it's likely due to the fact that it was stuck on the 3DS exclusively, that a lot of people don't really talk about it much. And the fact that it also just did not support online playing was just a massive negative in my opinion, because I know for a fact that if it had online play back then, I likely would have been playing the 3DS mode a lot more than the Wii U mode, or at least be equally playing both versions a lot more. But like I mentioned, I just want to say that I do hope that we do see this mode return in a future Smash game, and seeing it within a new mode or in the future with online play and it supporting about maybe 8 to 16 players, I think, in a single match, I think that would be a lot of fun. But even then, even if it does support online playing, at least allow us to play with friends. If it doesn't allow us to play with randoms online, but just playing it with our friends, I think this mode would really have a bright future and just a bright chance to survive and just be super popular in Smash Brothers. But again, that all pretty much varies if Sakurai is even making a new one at this point.